Jim is the leader of the Impossible Missions Force (IMF) team that has just completed a new recruitment. On the plane, he received a mission from IMF intelligence. A great official named Gleason in Prague is betraying the nation, planning to steal a part of the NOC list of intelligence agencies to sell at high prices. The NOC list contains all secret agents operating in Eastern Europe. The NOC list has two parts. One part is the code, and the other is the real name of the agent that corresponds to that code. Gleason has a list of codes. At the same time, he prepares to steal the remaining list from the embassy. If his plan is successful, all agents in Eastern Europe will face great dangers. The Jim team's mission is to capture Gleason's crime process and, at the same time, deal with others, summarizing them. Jim's members have Sarah, Jack, Hannah, and Claire, Jim's wife. Ethan is good at disguise. Jim came to Prague to summon the team members to start the task. Ethan is in charge of disguising as a member of the wine party. Sarah disguised as a contact, in charge of coordination with Ethan. Hannah is in charge of observing Gleason. Jack is in charge of cracking the elevator fingerprint identification system and controls in and out. Claire is in the external car, waiting until Gleason came out with Hannah. Jim also emphasized that once the mission failed, they must stop action and return here together. After arranging the mission, everyone chatted with each other, asking when Jim is recruiting new members at any luxurious hotel. Jim does not hide his excitement, saying the Red Hotel in Chicago. Everyone once again looked with admiring eyes. It seems that only this leader has this remuneration. To be able to capture Gleason's crime process, the team prepares for everyone to film. Images can be moved to the watch at the same time. Then, Jim gives Ethan a piece of chewy chewing gum. If the red and blue parts are put together within 5 seconds, it will explode. Everything is prepared. They start to act. Sarah makes symbols on Gleason's head, convenient for Hannah to watch. Then, together with Ethan disguised, they act together. Jack cracks the fingerprint identification system on the elevator, helping Ethan and Sarah get in the elevator to the place where the data is saved. While preparing to leave the elevator control is ineffective and cannot be opened. On the contrary, Gleason chased to press up. In an emergency, Jack controls to open the outside of the elevator. Ethan and Sarah jumped down, escaping. After Gleason entered the door, he indeed started downloading data. Everything was taken by the glasses. The task is completed half. Then, they need to find Gleason's trading object. Jack originally intended to control the elevator, but the system made an error. The elevator still goes up. Jack is stabbed by the machine. Gleason also sneaked out of the embassy. Jim, after learning this, goes to the control room. At a bridge, there was a follow-up. Jim notifies all members to cancel the mission. But Ethan saw Gleason drowning. He told Sarah to stay watching Gleason, and he went to the bridge to rescue Jim. Jim is afraid their information is heard, tells everyone to close the communication. In this moment, Ethan on the monitor screen saw Jim hit. His whole body is blood flowing into the river. When Ethan ran to the bridge, there was no shadow. He is aware that this is not simple. Hannah, after completing his mission on Gleason, suddenly had his car exploded. Ethan thought that Gleason was buried in the flames. Sarah watched a circuit, seeing Gleason being dragged to the door. She approached to discover that someone robbed the dead man's switch and stabbed Gleason. After Ethan ran to Sarah, he was stabbed with a knife by an unknown person. Ethan rummaged Gleason's pocket, could not find the dead man's switch. Because the police force was surrounding the area, he quickly left. Then, he notifies the situation to the superior Eugene, saying his team members during the action were dead. Eugene made an appointment to go to a shop to meet to clarify the situation. After Ethan entered the store, he discovered the surrounding people are all fake agents, because these people have previously appeared at the wine party. Ethan said that Eugene did not trust them. At this time, Eugene told him frankly, "This task is just a nominal mission. Gleason is actually me. He took away is also fake data, because many actions of the Intelligence Bureau were previously exposed. Moreover, not long ago, they knew a news. A man named Max proposes tasks to an internal agent wanting to get the NOC list. The action code is Job 314. It seems that Max has bribed an internal agent. So the purpose of this action is to lure the traitor within the intelligence department. Now, the other members are all dead. Only Ethan left. Moreover, parents' bank accounts of Ethan suddenly have more than 120,000 USD. Because of the largest suspicion of Ethan. Ethan heard here suddenly realized that Eugene was not good. Because to wash off the charges, he needs to find a real traitor. Then, the chump calmly took out the chewing gum, broke the fish's fish tank, and in the chaos, escaped. When he came to the hotel they used to gather, Ethan silently broke the bulb and put the long pieces on the ground. So, once someone comes, they will kick the glass. The sound of the glass will have a warning effect. Ethan saw the image in the computer. He remembered what Eugene said just now. The action code is Job 314. Then, he wants to investigate the clues of the action. Through the key search for a while, it cannot be discovered. At this time, he accidentally discovered on the bookshelf a Bible book. After speculating for a while, Ethan has searched for important words. However, he found an email. After that, Ethan used the position of Job in the Bible to try to send an email to Max, asking to meet him. In a panic, Ethan heard the thin sound of the glass. Claire came to the room. Based on what Eugene said, the alive person is very likely to be the insider. Ethan did not dare to trust Claire. Claire explained that before the car exploded, she was out of the car. Ethan did a check. He did not detect anything unusual, so he believed her. Knowing Ethan was harmed, Claire wanted to find Eugene to clarify this. But Ethan understood it's impossible. Once Claire appears, Eugene will think that he and Claire are his accomplices. It was at this moment that Max replied to email, agreeing to meet Ethan. According to the instructions of email information, Ethan successfully found Max. At this point, Max discovered that Ethan was not the Job she previously contacted. Ethan brought fake data to Max, saying he can help her get a real list. The condition is to deliver the Job here. At the same time, he also tried to read the fake disc, saying that in less than 10 minutes, intelligence agents will definitely chase. Max did not believe, sent his subordinates to take the disc. Not too surprised, the task force has chased. Fortunately, there was the reminder of Ethan, people Max left first. At this time, Max believed Ethan. Ethan also provided conditions to help her get a real list. Max had to pay him anonymous bonds US $10 million. There is also a Job to leave. Max and jobs are also mutual relationships. Max did not need to think, immediately agreed on Ethan's conditions. Because to be able to succeed get the NOC list, Ethan and Max find two helpers. A person named Luther is a computer player. The other is Krieger, who is good at helicopter control. They are all agents that are expelled. Ethan began to arrange the mission. The list of NOCs is located in the CIA set. In a sophisticated insurance vault, it needs to be through 3 inspection floors. The first floor is a fingerprint code. The second floor is the retinal identification. The third floor is the dual precision electronic key card. In the internal, there are 3 anti-intrusion systems. The first is the touch system. If it checks out unusual sound, it will launch a warning. The second is the temperature identification system. Once it checks out unusual temperature, it will issue a warning. The third is the ground pressure testing system. Increased gravity will also issue warnings. Facing this difficult gate to grant this hell, a person cannot help but choose another path. That is through the upper insurance warehouse. Install laser network through ventilation inward. Luther is in charge of remote computer command. Others disguised as firefighters broke into the building. Claire took this chance, disguised as an employee. At the insurer, she lowered the vomiting agent into the operator's coffee cup. At the same time, she also attaches a monitoring device on him. A security guard discovered a firefighter missing a person. Seeing that he was about to be exposed, Krieger immediately feinted him, taking out the equipment. Ethan after hurriedly stopped him. After everything continued, Ethan and Krieger passed the ventilation to the upper insurance warehouse. Use a black reflector to separate the laser. After checking the sound, Ethan began to act. Krieger is in charge of pulling the rope tightly. Ethan followed the slowly down rope. At this time, the operator entered the insurance vault. Ethan could not withdraw, could only hang quietly in the air. The operator opened the computer. The vomiting agent began to work. Then he hugged the trash can to run out. Ethan continued to slide down, then did a flipped body. After stabilizing, based on the temperature and the code provided by Luther, he opened the computer and plugged the disk in for the data download. Once completed, taking out the disk. No doubt, a mouse suddenly appeared close to Krieger. Krieger, in panic to destroy the mouse, quickly grabbed the rope. On this side, Ethan almost fell to the ground. Seeing the operator after vomiting slowly approaching the insurance vault, Krieger slowly pulled up the rope. Ethan successfully obtained a disc, then quickly slid up to the mouth of the ventilation. Krieger excitedly took the disc, but his dagger did not carefully slide down, falling on the table. At this time, the operator also went to the insurance vault. He discovered the dagger as well as the computer's download. Ethan threw off fake smoke explosives into a fire. The crowd of successful people escaped to London. Ethan opened the Bible before, used slang in it contacting Max. Krieger discovered that Ethan did not value him. He then pushed the Bible, requested when going to see the buyer must bring him. Because in his hand, he had a real list disc. Ethan did not flinch, took out another disc, performing a magic trick, saying that he soon switched 2 discs. Krieger felt he was lying. Anger, he threw down the disc and left. Ethan picked up the Bible, surprisingly discovered on the paper seal of the Drake Hotel in Chicago. Ethan suddenly remembered Jim before performing the mission used this hotel. Why did he bring the Bible from the hotel put on the bookshelf of the Prague Hotel? At this time, Ethan began to doubt Jim. Moreover, Krieger was found by Claire. In this story, there is definitely a conspiracy. Ethan was a mess from the trash to pick up the disc that Krieger threw away. It turned out that Krieger had intentionally played him just now. The disc that Krieger has is true. Because to ensure safety, Ethan gave Luther a storage. At this time, Ethan through TV notes.
His mother and uncle were arrested for being charged with drug trafficking.
Ethan understood this is definitely the result of Eugene. They wanted to force Ethan to show himself. Ethan then called to notify Eugene. Eugene passed the news in his father's phone. Now Ethan is in England. After the call ended, a man in windbreaker showed. It was Jim. It turned out that he was still not dead. He then told Ethan, at that time on the bridge, the shooter was Eugene. Actually, Ethan has guessed Jim is the traitor. At first, Jim brought the Bible from the Drake Hotel because he can always use slang in it to contact Max. Based on the previous reasoning, the traitor is one of the team members. 6 people currently have only 3 people left. I'm not a traitor. It can only be Jim or Claire. But the 2 of them are husband and wife. Then, based on these things, Ethan began to infer the crime. In the elevator, it can only be Jim that controls the elevator up to the top. On the bridge, the shooter is Jim. Then he pretends to fall into the water. The death of Sarah is likely to be introduced by Gregor Claire, because he has a knack for dagger. Sarah's death is also by that dagger. The death of Hannah has just started. Ethan predicted that it was by Claire. But thinking again and again, it is also likely that Jim, after crawling from the lake to the control machine. In fact, Ethan did not want to believe Claire did it. He seemed to have a little affection for Claire. Jim intentionally directed attention to Eugene. It seems that he heard the trick that Eugene deals with Ethan. Definitely, Ethan will find a way to deal with Eugene, help them fight, and he will wash suspects. After Ethan learned that these things, he still very casually followed Jim. The goal is to want to explore whether Claire is related to this conspiracy. Then he said the entire transaction to Max. They are on train to Paris to conduct transactions. Eugene led people to London. Eugene received a train ticket sent to a monitor screen clock. This watch was at the beginning of Ethan, the people they performed the task. On the train, Ethan told Max the position of the disc. Experiencing a test, it is indeed a real NOC list. Max also kept the promise, gave Ethan the position of the anonymous bond of $10 million. At the same time, the job will appear. Then she planned to play the NOC list online, but the transmission cannot be sent. In fact, Luther takes advantage of control of jamming. The Eugene people also arrived at the train. Luther, in case of being realized, immediately left his jamming device and then left. Unexpectedly, the waiter discovered his phone left, immediately brought over. The jamming stopped. Max's network in a moment returned to normal, continuing to play the list. After Claire discovered that Eugene, she silently left Jim, advised him to not tear Ethan, holding money for Ethan to suffer unjustly. It seems that she soon knew Jim was not quality. Suddenly, Jim removed the mask. It turned out that it was Ethan disguised. Ethan completely understood Claire also participated in this whole conspiracy. He was extremely disappointed about her. When the 2 of them were talking, Jim holds a gun. Jim was very wondering when Ethan began to doubt him. Ethan then talked about the Bible. As expected, there is a mistake. Jim tens of thousands of times didn't expect the hotel Drake would print the name of the hotel on the Bible. After Claire took the bond to deliver it to Jim, Ethan, quickly wearing glasses go up, transferred Jim's image to the clock Eugene. Just like that, he knew that Jim was still alive. Jim was too angry to shoot Ethan. Claire was about to stop. No doubt Jim did not say 2 words to Claire. Ethan took the opportunity to drop the gun and hand Jim. Jim counterattacked, pushed Ethan again to the ground. Then leave the car trunk. Ethan saw Claire's death. He climbed to the top of the car, indignantly chasing. At this time, Krieger started the helicopter, chasing Jim's response and dropping the rope, leaving Jim hooked up. Ethan, after seeing, followed the wind to stop him. He immediately hooked the rope to the top of the train. Seeing in front of the tunnel, Krieger could not escape. The helicopter followed the train flying into the tunnel. Jim, after rolling back and forth, finally climbed up the roar of the helicopter. Ethan wanted to stop. Krieger saw that Ethan was about to approach him. Any preventable not paying attention, the screw has stabbed into the tunnel. Ethan avoided one blow. Then he turned on, jumped to the helicopter. He took out explosive chewing gum, sticking on a helicopter. The helicopter immediately exploded. Jim went to the train again. At this time, the emergency brake train close to the plane directly stabbing. The train slowly stopped moving. Ethan luckily escaped. This side was caught by the train into the tunnel, the network was broken. The list of NOC sent failed. Ethan washed off the crime. His mother and uncle were also released. Luther, who successfully caught criminals, returned to the intelligence department. Experiencing this action, Ethan decided to resign to find himself. On the plane, a waiter asked him to watch the movie. Ethan suddenly realized that he wanted to find himself was missed. Part 2 of the mission is impossible. A medical scientist at a biological factory in Sydney created a new virus, Chimera, and an antitoxin resistance corresponds to this virus. Once infected with Chimera virus, within 20 hours, it is necessary to inject the antitoxin. If not, the person will immediately die. Because to succeed through the border gate, he directly put the Chimera virus into his body. At the same time, he invited his friend Ethan to escort himself to Atlanta. Any doubt the plane encountered robbery, Ethan suddenly feinted the scientist. He robbed the bag that the scientist held. It turned out that this Ethan was not a real Ethan, but a man named Sean was disguised. Sean is the leader of those bandits. After successful robbery, they rushed to the plane to leave. The unmanned aircraft directly crashed into the mountain. In fact, Sean did not know he took away was just the antitoxin, no chimera virus. Because the scientist did not talk, he extracted the virus in his body, let him know. On this side, Ethan is actually on leave, playing the game without climbing. After a while, showing his muscles, the intelligence staff came to find him, sending him a mission package. That is, to find the stolen chimera virus. Want to complete this task, must first find a thief named Naya, cooperating together to act. Ethan is based on the instructions to Seville, Spain. In the dance, he discovered Naya. This time, she came for nothing else, simply wanting to steal an invaluable item here. Use a treasure-hunting compass to find the position of the item, prepare to steal. Any doubt, she was discovered by Ethan. Two people did not know each other, flirting for a while. Under the guidance of Ethan, Naya successfully found the item. Then she put it in her chest. Suddenly, an alarm warned. The security has discovered them. But the person in charge seems to know Ethan, arguing that it was just a misunderstanding. Ethan did not miss the opportunity to relieve Naya. At the same time, he told her to obediently deliver the item. Turns out this is a trick by Ethan. He wants to see what Naya's body is in the end. The warning just now was caused by Ethan. Naya knew he intentionally played himself, angrily driving away. Ethan also drove after, saying she had passed the examination, inviting her to join his action team. After success, he will take advantage of his relationship to delete all her previous criminal records. Naya this time realized that Ethan was an agent. She said she will agree with him, unless he caught up. Then she crashed into Ethan's car, pedaled the accelerator pedal forward. Seeing Naya crazy and wild like that, Ethan is extremely happy. He defied after. Two people on the highway racing one match. Don't think Naya is a bit worse, almost fell on the cliff. Ethan, after seeing, ran up to save her. Naya to express thanks, directly kissing him. Then the two changed the location and the way to another race. After sex, Ethan went to find Wallace, the leader of the mission team. Wallace opened a video of a PhD medical doctor who prayed for Ethan for help. At this point, Ethan knew that his doctor was dead. But in the video, it is clear he would not start without meeting Ethan. Wallace explained because the Ethan at that time was fake, so they need the fake Ethan to pick him up. He was a member of the agent team, having many times disguised as Ethan to perform the task. But based on aviation company data, the captain of the aircraft was abducted by others, so there is definitely a bad person on the plane. They then created a plane crash. Ethan immediately thought that Sean would definitely do it, because he used to be his student before. But the problem is why he betrayed the organization, and what is chimera virus? Why can it make money? Because it is possible to find the answer, can only approach their conspiracy. So this time for Ethan is to find the chimera virus. Ethan thought that Wallace wanted Naya to steal viruses. Wallace explained not to steal viruses, but to steal hearts, because Naya used to be Sean's lover. Sean is always fascinated with Naya, so he wants to send her to Sean, pretending to make up with him, take the opportunity to investigate the conspiracy behind Sean. Ethan heard a bit awkward. Naya and I have just finished having sex, and now looks at her and others. Wallace seems to see their thoughts. Ethan gave him a camera. If you are awkward, please show her the photos of this plane crash. Naya, after seeing the photo, suddenly the spirit of respect. Naya was surrounded by morality and accepted this task. Ethan could not say he was happy or sad. No matter what, the task must be done. Then he attached to Naya a navigation device that only one computer can see. Because to get the credibility of Sean, Naya could not come directly to find him. Ethan takes advantage of state resources, pretends to arrest Naya. Definitely, after asking for plane, certainly at this time will be interested in the direction of the global case. Once he knew Naya was arrested, surely the hero will save the beauty, to find a way to save Naya out. From here, she again has his heart. Because it can be convenient to complete the task, Ethan went to his old friend Luther and a new member Billy, coordinated with him. As expected, after knowing, Sean takes advantage of his resources to save Naya. Moments see old lover, Sean for a moment became a warm man. He was afraid of her cold, rounded on Naya's neck and kissed her. Ethan observed through satellite images, just seeing this scene. A subordinate of the Sean found no weapons on Naya, but Hugh, another junior, felt this girl was very suspicious. At first, she left Sean with a steadfast attitude. Why just come back right now? Definitely a conspiracy. In order not to cause suspicion, Naya often changed clothes right in front of him. Sean was in a stretch of blood vessels. After that, he received good news. Someone spent $1.1 billion to his antidote. He prepared a memory card, planning to go to a racetrack to discuss business with guests. At this time, Hugh was not satisfied with the job. Sean is so fond of girls. Thinking that Nia is too suspicious will destroy their plan. Sean thought that all was still under control. Seeing that Hugh doubted his charm, Sean angrily broke his finger. At the racetrack, the occasion of Sean was gone. Billy, disguised as an employee, gave Nia a hand right away. Nia informed Ethan about Sean's trading. After searching, Ethan discovered the traitor with Sean. It is McCoy, the owner of the pharmaceutical factory where Dr. Nikorovich works. He gave McCoy a document, then stuffed the memory card into the left pocket. Nia knew that, looked for the opportunity to steal it. Then she took the excuse to bet to the place to bet, deliver documents to Ethan. Ethan reads the memory card by camera, transmit information to Luther. It was a colleague of Dr. Nikorovich, recording the whole process from being infected with Chimera to death. Seeing Chimera so scary, Ethan worried that Neil would be in danger. He promised to quickly save her. At that moment, Hugh saw that Nia acted abnormally and rushed over. Ethan returned the document to Nia and left very quickly. Nia returned to Sean, silently put the memory card in the old place. But then, Sean realized everything. In the evening, Ethan silently came to Nia. Nia saw that, was very happy, thinking that Ethan was going to save himself. But Ethan said she had to stay here to keep Sean. Although Nia does not want, there is no other choice. She hurriedly left. At this time, Ethan took off the mask. It turned out this was fake Sean. His purpose is to prove his speculation. Knowing Nia deliberately tricked himself for Ethan, he was very angry. And Ethan really knows the status of McCoy. He trapped him in a car and took him to a similar hospital, saying that McCoy was infected with Chimera. Ethan, disguised as Nikorovich, learned every truth from McCoy. It turned out he wanted to take advantage of the pandemic Chimera and antidote to make money. Steps include spreading Chimera disease first, then sell at super profits. But McCoy only has Chimera virus. The antidote was taken away by Nikorovich. That's why he came to Sean to buy. After learning about Chimera and the purpose of Sean, Ethan dropped McCoy. When McCoy regained consciousness, he realized that he was fine. He thought that everything earlier was just a dream. Through the exploration earlier, Ethan knew Sean only has the cure, not the pathogens. All viruses are in the pharmaceutical factory. So, he decided to destroy all the Chimera pathogens. So, Sean's cure will not work at all. Luther investigates, finding the place where pathogens are accommodated. But the building was protected very tightly. After investigating the building structure, they discovered that, for better virus culture, the rooftop of the building is the best place to enter. Luther can hack the system to open the device, but it can only be maintained for 40 seconds. If the time lapses, the building's alarm will sound. They can penetrate through the door once it's open. After planning, everyone began to act. Billy drove a helicopter and dropped Ethan on the roof of the building. Luther sat in a nearby truck, commanding. Time was standard for hacking. He opened the door. Ethan immediately jumped down. He rushed into the building right at the end of the door still being open. Also, in the last moment, he collected all the ropes. Through his subordinates, Sean knew about Ethan's actions. He understood how Ethan worked, thinking that he would definitely jump from the rooftop, then open the generator and use noise to cover the virus theft. So, he led a group of people and started acting. They broke through the protective substance, then went straight through the main door. Ethan was finished putting on protective clothes, finding the virus that was in the glass case. He booted the system in order to destroy the culture environment, destroying the entire virus. Then, he went to find the remaining 3 virus bottles. After destroying 2 bottles, the remaining bottle was about to be taken. Sean arrived and shot at Ethan, making him fall to the ground. So Ethan, with 2 hands and 2 guns, started fighting. Seeing the virus bottle right in front of him, Ethan was about to take it away, unexpectedly being attacked. Sean feared that he would hit the virus flask and pour the virus inside. He hurriedly stopped his juniors. He threatened to take the virus here. After finishing it, it will be difficult. He always injected medicine into Nia. Just like that, Sean did not dare to harm Nia. If not, he would lose 1.1 billion. Ethan started the bomb that had been installed in advance, saving Nia and preparing to leave. But Sean's army was very crowded. Nia told Ethan to kill her so all viruses would be destroyed. Ethan could not do that. He promised to get the antidote to save her. Then he exploded the building and jumped out of there. Sean brought Nia's cure and blood to exchange with McCoy. Now all viruses have been destroyed, only this blood is left. But seizing this opportunity, Sean captured McCoy. He did not take the money as they discussed, but took 51% of the shares. Because once the disease spreads, certainly the cure will be very expensive. The company's stock will also increase sharply. Until then, they would earn not only this money. Then, Sean ordered to release Nia in the heart of the city. He wanted to take advantage of her to spread the pathogen. Under the coordination of Billy and Luther, Ethan reached the transaction place, exploding the door. Then he entered the same white pigeon, unclear metaphor. Sean saw that and was angry. "Until now, I still did not forget to pretend," he said. He had to solve Ethan, then continue to force McCoy to transfer shares immediately. McCoy did all, had to tell his subordinates to do it. After Hugh led the people to rush out, he could not find Ethan. At this time, Ethan was hiding. He immediately rushed to fight with Hugh. On this side, Sean received the news that Hugh had tamed Ethan. Hugh brought Ethan in front of Sean. Sean saw Ethan's shyness. It was very chalky. He constantly humiliated and threatened him. Finally, Sean shot to kill him in front of everyone. But suddenly, Sean realized that Ethan's little finger was a bit unusually abnormal. He opened the mask. It turned out to be Hugh, his junior. At that time, Ethan was disguised as Hugh. He had obtained the antidote and blood. After Ethan ran out, Billy and Luther came to save him. Ethan was about to jump on the plane. Any doubt was severely bombarded. Ethan dodged all, telling Luther and Billy to save Naya first. As for me, I will drive a large displacement after. Sean sent people to chase. Seeing more and more people clinging to the tail, Luther sat on the helicopter to clean up for Ethan. Ethan rushed through the flames, continuing to move forward. At this time, a car caught up, going in parallel with Ethan. Ethan shot a tire and it turned immediately, catching fire. After that, another car caught up. Ethan saw a truck passing by and used the tire as a wedge. The car behind could not see the front, so the shot was not accurate. Suddenly, it was hit by a truck. Then another car chased. Ethan immediately opened fire, hitting both the driver and the gunman. The car lost control for a moment and turned over on the ground. Seeing his subordinates were defeated one by one, Sean angrily drove a motorbike to chase. Ethan felt very burning, then deliberately lured him out of the big road onto the sand. Then the two of them did not say a word, but the vehicles hit each other. The car caught fire. Ethan and Sean fell together. Their guns also fell down. They started fighting with empty hands. Two people fought. Fortunately, Ethan blocked. Sean pulled out a dagger. He slashed Ethan's face and then cruelly dove down, aiming for his eyes. Sean found he was unable to compete, so he humiliated Naya. Ethan could not help it anymore. He threw the knife away and fought him hand to hand again, punching. Sean picked up the gun on the ground to shoot. Ethan quickly reached out and they began to struggle for control. The first shot hit Ethan's shoulder, then he was kicked. Finally, Ethan hit Sean onto a rock. Sean was comatose. Luther welcomed Naya, then came to find Ethan. Ethan held the antidote, preparing to give it to Luther. Any doubt, Sean woke up, holding a gun at Ethan. Ethan saw the gun under his feet and threw the antidote to Luther. Then he kicked the gun, immediately turned to lie down, avoiding Sean's shot. Then he shot continuously, hitting Sean. After injection, Naya was normal again. But the commander, Swanbeck, knew that both the Chimera virus and the antidote were destroyed. He was not very happy, because the mission that Ethan was assigned is to bring the live Chimera virus. Swanbeck wants to know how to completely destroy the virus. Ethan stared at him, saying that fire was the best way. In fact, Ethan did not take all the antitoxic drugs and blood samples, but he did not give them to Swanbeck because Ethan doesn't know what kind of intelligence wants to get that virus. However, Swanbeck still followed the previous agreement. He eliminated all of Naya's criminal records. Ethan found Naya. The two of them went to find themselves. Mission Impossible Part 3. Ethan had a new girlfriend, Julia. To enjoy a beautiful family life, he quit his job at the IMF. One day, while holding a home party, he received a mysterious phone call. The other end said a series of things wildly. Based on his thick experience, Ethan guessed that the IMF employee wanted something from him. After that, Ethan just went to buy stones. He met John, an old colleague, at a supermarket. Before Ethan retired, he had a student named Lindsay. John had Lindsay watch a weapons trafficker but lost contact. He suspected that she was captured by Owen, who was involved in abducting weapons, and was at an abandoned factory in Berlin. Lindsay's intelligence is very important, so this task is to rescue Lindsay. Ethan is not planning to accept the task, wanting to enjoy private life. But now his student is in danger. He considered forever, finally accepting this task. He said goodbye to Julia, using the excuse of a sudden business trip to deceive her. Then he met his teammates in this mission: old friend Luther, young man Declan, and female agent Zen. They went to the abandoned factory in Berlin. First, they installed automatic guns around the building. Luther is in charge of sitting in a remote truck. Ethan is responsible for going into the factory to save Lindsay. Zen will get computer data, and Declan's job is to drive a helicopter to help people. Luther used a thermal scanner to find where Lindsay was locked. Ethan entered the building quickly and found Lindsay. He signaled. Zen cut the electrical system immediately. Luther starts automatic guns, firing continuously into the building. After a bit of distraction, Ethan saved Lindsay. He injected adrenaline for her, letting Lindsay recover physically. Zen entered the command room, planning to take the computer in it. Preventing her, she suddenly saw a grenade. Zen reacted quickly, jumping out, but the computer exploded. Zen didn't know what to do, and took the broken computer to jump out. Lindsay wanted...
So, salmon does have iron in it, but it's not a lot.
There's better sources of iron. They jumped on the roof of Luther's truck. Declan drove the helicopter. They climbed the helicopter to leave here. Whoever thought there was another helicopter chasing? Declan took off, flew into the wind farm. Suddenly, Lindsay was in extreme pain. Ethan checked her and discovered that a microbomb had been transplanted in her brain. In an endangered moment, the helicopter shot the bomb with traces. Declan tilted the tail of the plane from the shot. Ethan wanted to use electric contacts, making the bomb in Lindsay's brain short-circuit to save her. Suddenly, the chasing helicopter fired a rocket. Declan immediately changed direction. Jen almost fell from the helicopter. Ethan hurriedly held her. They dodged, and Ethan coordinated with Jen to contact Lindsay. The other helicopter approached, locking them to die. Declan quickly flew up. They dodged the electricity generators of the wind farm and escaped successfully. The helicopter chasing them could not avoid it, being hit by a huge propeller, exploding. No doubt that the electricity was not finished. The microbomb was activated, and Lindsay died on the spot. Theodore, the leader of the intelligence bureau, knew they had failed, because Lindsay accepted this task based on Ethan's assessment of her ability. But in fact, Lindsay did not fulfill the assigned task smoothly. She was also transplanted with a microbomb in the brain, but the Ethans were rolled down forever. But not only did they not save her, but the computer had broken data. He reprimanded Ethan and John. At Lindsay's ceremony, Ethan received a picture of Berlin that Lindsay sent him while alive. The back of the photo has a coded microplate. Ethan realized that this thing was not simple, so he handed it to Luther to try decoding. Benji, another computer genius of the intelligence department, has restored a part of the data of the stolen computer. They learned that Owen was about to attend a ceremony in the Vatican, perhaps also related to something called the rabbit's foot. People do not understand what the rabbit's foot is, Benji said for a while. Based on his speculation, this could be an extremely dangerous weapon. Ethan thinks that this opportunity can be used to capture Owen. He asked about their customers and their purpose. Ethan told Benji not to tell John, in a hurry to help his friend. At this moment, Julia felt a bit suspicious. She thought Ethan didn't like her sincere. To prove himself, Ethan found a kiss witness, then held a simple wedding with Julia. After that, the two could not wait anymore and stepped into the path of adults. After arranging the rear, Ethan and his teammates went to the front line. They coordinated with each other and mixed into the Vatican City successfully. After seeing Owen at the party, Jen stealthily wore makeup. She used a hidden camera to scan all corners of Owen's face. Luther received information, then made a mask. At the party, Jen realized Owen stealthily booked a pair of briefcases. Perhaps they have meticulously planned to trade here. Seeing Owen is about to leave the party, based on Owen, she wants to take more time for Ethan. After finishing the mask, Luther put it on to help Ethan. Then start action. Knowing Owen is adjusting clothes in the toilet, Ethan stealthily followed the sideway, climbed to the door of the toilet. He suddenly appeared behind Owen. Without Owen having time to react, Ethan pressed him to the ground. After taking the voice data, he gave him a dose of anesthetic. Luther is based on voice data to set a voice transformer. Seeing Owen's bodyguards prepare to check, Ethan and Declan are suitable for hiding Owen at the back of the door. The bodyguard found that Owen was a bit strange. He was about to enter. Seeing they were about to be exposed, in a dangerous moment, the voice transformer was set. Ethan stopped the bodyguard immediately. After going out, he had just agreed with Jen's request to go to the pub with her. Jen takes Ethan to the positioned manholes. Luther came to help. They crawled into the sewer successfully. At this time, Jen took a clamping control between his legs. After that, they brought Owen and forced him to leave the Vatican. After knowing this news, John told Theodore that Ethan caught Owen. At first, Theodore was quite happy, but then he was passionate. On the Owen aircraft, Ethan wants to ask what the rabbit's foot is, as well as the customer behind. But the fox Owen dodged his question again. He asked the opposite of whether Ethan had a wife or lover, saying that if the person fell into his hand, he would think about how to torture her. He also recounted impressive things when torturing Lucy. Ethan could not help it anymore. He opened the door of the plane, leaving half of Owen outside. He intended to threaten him by cutting off the rope, leaving Owen to tell the truth about the rabbit and the other guest. But no matter how Ethan intimidated him, Owen still did not open his mouth. Luther saw that Ethan was so hasty. Thinking about the mission, hurriedly stopped him. Ethan compressed his anger and pushed Owen back into the plane compartment. Thanks to sharp hearing, Luther heard screams. Owen knows it turns out that the person who pretends to his name is Ethan. They got off the plane, preparing to take Owen to the headquarters. At this time, the coding plate that Lindsay sent to Ethan has been decoded. It was a video of Lindsay. She relied on Owen's phone signal to trace the place where it called. The IP address is in the office of Theodore. Right then, the convoy was bombarded by a drone. Attack! A helicopter suddenly appeared, firing into the crowd. Seeing that the opponent was too strong, Ethan hurriedly searched for weapons under the car. No doubt he was discovered by them. They continued to send drones to attack. A group of people jumped from the helicopter, going to Owen. Ethan regained his composure, preparing to return. But he was targeted by unmanned aircraft. Ethan turned the gun and shot down the plane. Over here, Owen was saved. Ethan saw that. He was about to jump over, but was late. Owen has already been on the helicopter. At this time, Ethan realized that Julia may be in danger. He rushed to the hospital but was still too slow. Julia was taken away by them. It was at this time that Ethan received Owen's call. He forced him to find the rabbit's foot and give it to him within 48 hours. If not, it is difficult to keep the life of Julia. Ethan was confused planning. Any doubt, he was stopped by the intelligence department. The reason for not coordinating the investigation. They took him to the department. Theodore gloated for a moment and then sent him back. At this time, John pretended to blame Ethan and then moved his lips to tell him the position of the rabbit's foot. John secretly gave him an urgent knife. Taking advantage of the open plan when entering the elevator, Ethan escaped gently. Then, based on the news John provided, he went to Shanghai. In a shabby room, he met the members who came here first to support. The rabbit's foot is located in the laboratory on the 56th floor of the building on Hansan Street. Strictly guarded everywhere. It is even harder to steal it. After a while, people could not think of any plan. Ethan observed around the building and decided to take a risk. He would swing straight from the next building to the roof of the target building. After discussing, they started acting. Jen and Declan deliberately used a baseball to attract the attention of the upper floor. At this time, Ethan jumped down. A little tight, and he also clung on. While everyone is impatiently waiting, Ethan took the rabbit's foot smoothly, jumping from the window. A low-altitude parachute is very dangerous. Everyone hurriedly drove to help. At this time, even though Ethan was stuck in the streetlights, the case in his hand also fell. Ethan ran in the middle of the car and finally picked up the rabbit's foot. Right then, Declan drove to the place, picked up Ethan, and prepared to leave here. Seeing the Owen deadline is getting closer and closer, Ethan hurriedly called Owen but was so weak. In danger, the building's protection also chased and fired continuously at them. There was really a shooting in Shanghai. The two sides shot at each other for a while. Ethan fired at a car, dodged the blow. In the last 5 seconds, the phone was connected. After the delivery venue, Ethan informed John. He told John the code of the navigation device mounted on the rabbit's foot so he would know the position of the rabbit's foot at any time. Going to a safe place, Ethan said goodbye to the team members because Owen has indicated only Ethan went to trade with him. Ethan went alone as directed and was captured and given an anesthetic. When he regained consciousness, he realized he was dizzy. After that, a microbomb was transplanted on Ethan's nose, identical to what they did with Lindsay. Owen pulled Julia out, threatening Ethan to say where the rabbit's foot really was. At this time, Ethan was a bit panicked. Obviously, he gave them the rabbit's foot. Actually, Owen deliberately lied to Ethan because he did not know if Ethan would trick him. The rabbit's foot also cannot easily be gotten, so Owen deliberately tricked him. Ethan doesn't know what to do. He started speaking incoherently. Owen did not say no. He shot near Julia. Seeing the panic of Ethan, Owen was sure Ethan gave him the real goods. While Ethan was panicked, John suddenly appeared. He said that Julia has never died. This girl is Owen's assistant. If Ethan wants to meet the real Julia, he must tell them the news in the plate that Lindsay sent to him. John wants to confirm whether Lindsay knew his conspiracy yet, and if it revealed his identity. At this time, Ethan understood. It turned out that the one behind it was John. John informed Owen about Lindsay watching him, so she was arrested. Then he used fake information to make Lindsay mistakenly think that Theodore betrayed the organization. John deliberately told Ethan to save Lindsay so he could have Lindsay as a witness to easily overthrow Theodore, his superior. But unexpectedly, they could not save her. The more unexpected thing is Lindsay sent a secret document to Ethan. John wants to find out if the news in that plate is detrimental to him. John is an extremist racist. He dislikes Theodore because he is black and his hairstyle. John thought that he could not kill weapons traders like Owen. Killing one will have more Owens appearing. If that's the case, it would be possible to take advantage of them to do important things. John's plan is to take advantage of Owen to sell the rabbit's foot to Middle East customers. The army then could save the Middle East with a large weapon of damage to attack them and overthrow the government there, bringing democracy and freedom called Spring. Thus, it is possible to solve the point of terrorism. Ethan listens to the eloquent speech of John. Then he says if John wants to hear whether Julia is still alive or not. He takes the opportunity to feint him and then jerks the pen, unlocks his hand. Then he took John's phone to call Benji. He asked him to trace the last phone number that John called because the final call is to Julia. Just look up the location of the phone number and he can find Julia. Benji checked, discovering the location of the calling was very close to Ethan. Under the guidance of Benji, Ethan, running along the old town, finally found Julia. It was at this moment that Owen suddenly jumped out and started the mini-bomb timer. Ethan felt an extremely bad headache. Owen took the opportunity to beat and kick him and then brought Ethan in front of Julia. He was about to beat him to death in front of Julia. Ethan suffered pain, pushing Owen, then the two hugged each other and fell out. At this time, a car rushed towards them. Ethan quickly reached out and lifted Owen on top. Owen was immediately hit and no longer was seen, leaving only a shoe. Seeing the small bomb in the beginning is about to explode, Ethan has just made an electric shock, and he teaches Julia how to use guns because John is nearby. After the manufacturing, Julia started the electric shock. Ethan immediately fainted. It was at this time that someone chased. Julia shot indiscriminately despite everything and just happened to shoot John. Experiencing Julia's emergency, Ethan finally regained consciousness. Seeing Julia's work before his eyes, he felt very satisfied, as expected of his wife. After that, he did not cover up and said his agent identity to Julia. After the mission is completed, Ethan said goodbye and took Julia to find herself together. Mission Impossible Part 4. Because of intentionally killing people, Ethan was locked in a Russian prison. But in front of the IMF, there was an urgent task, so they sent Benji and Carter to rescue Ethan. Benji penetrates the prison system to open all the doors. The prison immediately became a mess. After hearing the signal, Ethan took a prisoner to the set place. The female commando Carter in the water paved the way for them. The crowd of successful people escaped. This time, they came to rescue Ethan for a secret mission. Earlier, Carter and Benji, along with Commando Hanaway, worked together to get a secret document. After Hanaway got separated from the document, he didn't want to be chased by others. Hanaway, waiting for Carter and Benji to come, was conscious and assessed to be shot dead by the assassin. The document is also robbed. This document is Russia's nuclear bomb launching password. After listening, Ethan realized that the great deal was not good. According to the information that IMF knows, there is a secret person, a man named Cobalt, who is an extremist. His plan was to detonate the bomb at all costs. The people came to a secret phone room. IMF again delivered the mission package to Ethan, telling him to fake being a Russian officer, break into the Kremlin's archive, and take the true identity of Mr. Cobalt. After arranging the mission, according to the previous setup, the message will automatically be cancelled in 5 seconds. Ethan waited for a long time, still had no movement. Therefore, he broke in by hand. The task started. Carter uses hydrogen balls to release something like a jamming device to help Ethan and Benji overcome guards. After finding the location of the archives, the two people opened a reflective screen, tricking the gaze of the guards, slowly approaching. The principle of this hidden reflective screen is probably taking advantage of a computer 3D image, then through the lens capturing the eyes of the observer, simulating the scenery the observer saw, thus achieving hidden effects. In the middle, when Benji checked the recording progress, it was almost exposed. After producing the model, Ethan broke into the archive. After a while checking, he did not see Cobalt's profile. It was at this moment that a strange voice entered their communication channel, which also shocked the guards. It seems that someone knows their actions and wants to intentionally mislead them. Ethan ordered the planning to stop and withdraw. The guards arrived in front of the screen. At this time, because the people of the lens were not accurate, they started to blink. Ethan pretended to calm down, escaping from the secret path. After changing clothes, he prepared to leave. At this time, he discovered a person holding the document in his hand, acting strange. Suddenly, there was an intense explosion in the Kremlin. Ethan was also knocked out by the bomb. After regaining consciousness, Ethan was in the hospital and was imprisoned in the hospital bed. A Russian agent, Anatoly, found their transmission content in the archive. He accused Ethan of being the culprit planning to explode the Kremlin. Ethan found it bad. By the time Anatoly did not pay attention, he climbed up the window, preparing to jump down. After, Anatoly discovered that the ground was too high for Ethan to jump down. At this moment, a car passed. Ethan did not say a word, used a bridge as a springboard, and favored it to the ground. After Anatoly saw, he hurriedly chased. On the road, Ethan borrowed the wind to break the bamboo shoots, replacing his outfit. He found his superiors, the secretary of the IMF. There, he met the man he saw in the Kremlin, Cobalt. Ethan immediately felt bad things. Cobalt took away the nuclear launch device. The assassin, Moreau, has the password. If the two of them combined, it would cause a nuclear war. Ethan would like to ask the secretary to inform Russia in advance to avoid this crisis. But the secretary said that Russia certainly would not believe their words, and would think the Americans exploded the Kremlin. The blame would only return to the IMF intelligence agency. The president signed the Ghost Protocol. The IMF becomes an unrecognizable organization. The main Ghost Protocol is to say that the IMF becomes the government's sacrifice lamb, no longer being protected and supported by the government. That the secretary received was to bring Ethan back to the United States. He also gave him a secret document. At this time, their car was attacked by Russians. The secretary and the driver were killed. The whole car turned quickly into the river. Ethan and Agent Brandt were about to swim ashore, but did not expect to be fired upon. Ethan had a plan. He put flares on the dead driver, taking advantage of him to distract the fire. Ethan and Brandt took the opportunity to escape. Then the two went to the facility to secretly gather with Benji and Carter. From the document provided by the secretary, they know that Cobalt is an extremist. He always tried destroying the current world with a nuclear bomb to reform it into a completely new world. He thinks that is the greatest piece of man. This is crazy. The intelligence is that the assassin Moreau is about to meet a man named Wistrom in Dubai's Burj Khalifa tower. She was using diamonds to buy the codes from him. Once they exchange successfully, the world will face a nuclear war. Therefore, their task is to prevent the transaction and get the password back. Then they depart for Dubai. According to the plan, Agent Carter is in charge of disguising as the Moreau assassin to see Wistrom. Benji will fake being Wistrom and Brandt as an assistant to meet Moreau, thus exchanging the coding documents. To successfully complete the task, first they must control the elevator and surveillance camera, to make the opponent believe their room is the previous appointment room. But Benji discovered that the engine room here was military level. If you want to solve it, it takes a lot of time, and Wistrom is coming. The best way is to be able to directly access the computer in the server room. Thus, they can quickly break into the elevator control system and surveillance camera. Benji throws Ethan a pair of gloves that can be used to climb on the glass. Ethan finished equipping, preparing for action. After reaching the target floor, he prepared to cut the glass. Unexpectedly, the equipment made mistakes. Ethan almost fell again. Luckily, there was no danger. He broke the glass into the engine room. After plugging the joint, Benji gained control of elevators and surveillance cameras. Then they changed the room numbers. At this time, Brandt discovered that Wistrom had entered the elevator first. In the urgent situation, Ethan said nothing, using ropes to jump outside, running on the wall. Unexpectedly, the rope is not long enough and cannot reach the room. This time, Ethan came up with an idea, again using his physical knowledge. Brandt wears clear glass with cameras. It is possible to show the document to see at any time. Carter put the printer in the exchange box. Thus, Brandt can follow the visible document. The photo of the code is not in order, favorable for the exchange. After arranging, the team has been to Burj Khalifa. But besides, there is an additional password assessment staff. Brandt feels bad. Once the assessor detects the wrong code, then they will be in trouble. When everyone was in panic, Ethan made a plan. He had Benji program a glass-proof camera to give the real password to the team. Then follow him to find the solution. Brandt insisted on stopping because it was too risky. At this moment, the mask they printed failed. It is true that the art is gone. No support, no equipment from the headquarters. They can only act on their own. Ethan wants to risk, not wearing masks, directly performing the task, bluffing the opponent who has never met him. The incident in this country can only be like that. The plan to wear Benji's mask again dissipated. Not outside Ethan's prediction. They had never met. Ethan took the codes and dared to make an excuse. He told Moreau to give the password document for Brandt to check. Brandt takes advantage of the overlapping glass camera to copy the document of Carter's box. The team used to take out the diamond, planning to look through the code. At this time, Benji dared to pretend to take the chance to take the diamond to Ethan's room. After Brandt mixed all the documents, the team used it to just open the suitcase. After being confirmed by the staff, the confirmation was made and they immediately left. Before he left, he killed the staff who dared to code. This side, Moreau got the diamond and discovered that Brandt's glasses were a trick. In emergency, Ethan and Brandt coordinated to fight with Moreau's subordinates. Moreau took advantage of the opportunity to flee. Carter heard it and hurriedly stopped her. Because the previous document was printed with a specific material that could be monitored from a nearby location. After finishing the fact, Ethan was based on the position and began to pursue Wistrom. Unexpectedly, the Russian agent Sidorov discovered him, intending to make him return to Russia. Ethan saw that Wistrom was about to escape and had no time to explain. He directly knocked the Sidorov people down, continuing to pursue. This side, Moreau managed to escape. Carter had not looked at her for a long time because she herself tore her who loved Agent Hanaway. The two fought. Carter unintentionally kicked Moreau from the building. While Ethan chased, suddenly there was a sandstorm coming. Ethan jumped onto the roof of Wistrom's car and had to fight him, uncarefully tearing a layer of mask. It turned out that he was not Wistrom. Ethan robbed a car and continued to pursue. Following the instructions of the direct monitoring signal, the Wistrom climbed into a car to escape. There was a person who removed the mask, so she was a woman. After the mission, based on the experience of the previous parts, Ethan claims that there was a traitor in the team. So he began to explore the next person, Brandt. As expected, Brandt is not an advisory officer but a field agent. But his goal is the same as Ethan's. Both are preventing the nuclear war. Ethan secretly contacted the information provider. He went alone to see him. After Ethan went, Brandt told Carter and Benji about his true identity. He was sent to Croatia to protect a couple. One day, he learned that someone wanted to kill this couple, but his superiors ordered him to not tell them arbitrarily. The result led to the wife being murdered and her face was completely destroyed. Brandt witnessed all and felt extremely guilty. He decided to not be involved in fieldwork anymore, until he met Ethan and discovered Ethan is the husband who lost his wife. Because his wife's death made him cruelly rely on foreign culprits, he was finally arrested in a prison in Russia. The Ethan team secretly contacted Borden. It was the one who saved him from the first prison. Borden's cousin is a weapon merchant who understands Borden's people. Ethan clearly stated the nuclear war problem to him. This weapon merchant is also aware of the seriousness of the problem, so he told Ethan the Russian side secretly sold to Mumbai a military satellite that was being decommissioned. This satellite buyer is the media beam in India, Brijnath. His hinting is that Mr. Brijnath will likely take advantage of this satellite to launch nuclear missiles. If you want to stop him, you have to turn off this satellite first. Ethan learned that and the small team came to India. They had just started. The weapon merchant sold the Ethan's team out to Sidorov. After coming to Mumbai, the Ethan team began to plan to take action. To turn off the satellite can only be done through the ground server, but the code to access the server system only Brijnath knows. So Carter was in charge of seducing Brijnath to get the password. Brandt wears a special magnetic outfit in combination with Benji to access the server, then use the password to access the satellite shutdown system. After planning, they started to act. Brandt is afraid of height, so he will not dare to jump down from the ceiling. Under the constant urging of Ethan, he jumped into the ventilation tube. Benji hacked into the server system and turned off the heat sinks. Then he took advantage of the magnetic field to push Brandt to the server center. Everything is ready, lacking only the password. This side, Carter plays psychological manipulation. Bridgenoth indeed bit. But this Bridgenoth was manipulative and also started playing all kinds of games. Carter immediately no longer patiently knocked him down to ask for the password. But Brandt has not yet entered the server code. The connection appeared tight and was cut off from the satellite. The heatsink also removed. It turned out that Bridgenoth went to a live television station to use a virus to cut the link between the server and the satellite. Benji relies on the signal to find the position of Bridgenoth. Ethan led Carter departing to the TV station. On this side, the radiating heat quickly made Brandt fall into danger. Benji adjusts the wind speed to the highest level. Brandt, thanks to the wind and the magnetic force, jumped up on top. Bridgenoth ordered to re-engage the satellite's military function. Then he set a new confirmation password to separate the signal from the submarine, causing the officers in the submarine to have no way to contact directly. The Russian Central Command was ready for all of the nuclear warheads. At this time, the Ethan side was blocked on the road. Hearing the warhead was shot out, they wanted to seize the last chance, pressing the nuclear warhead button to prevent it from exploding. He saw that Ethan chased and ordered subordinates to destroy the server. Carter moved forward to prevent it and was unexpectedly hit. Benji and Brandt come to meet promptly. Right now, the power was cut off. To press the warhead button, they need to use this server to input the password and then press the stop button. So Brandt tried to restore the power source and Benji took advantage of the server repair. Ethan alone chased Bridgenoth. They went to a garage. The two fought over the warhead suitcase. The suitcase, after several falls, fell into the hands of Ethan. Unexpectedly, Bridgenoth suddenly appeared to rob the suitcase. Ethan did not give it, he directly broke his hand. Bridgenoth kicked the suitcase under the car. The two continued fighting under the car. The uneasy Bridgenoth pushed the suitcase down to the lower floor. Seeing it was about to go down, Ethan hurriedly ran over there. Mr. Bridgenoth saw it and went to rob the suitcase. Then did not say a word, directly hugging the suitcase to jump down. Ethan saw that he risked his life like that. He got in a car and drove running downwards. This side, Brandt is trying to restore the power, but power suddenly appears. Two people fight. Ethan, after awakening, found the suitcase and immediately pressed the stop button. But it doesn't work because Brandt has not restarted the power source. Benji finished the server, then advanced to support Brandt. He directly defeated the guards. Brandt then started the power. Carter also put the hard drive into the server. Ethan constantly pressed the button. Finally, at the key moment, he turned off the warhead. The warhead lost motivation and fell into the sea. Danger has been removed. Sidorov also found Ethan and knew that Ethan was not a terrorist element. At first, it was also because Ethan told the weapons merchant to inform Sidorov so that he would intentionally find himself and could testify for his innocence. The task is completed, but because many people saw something falling into the sea, to eliminate the suspicion of people, they now help them create some fake news to deceive people. Brandt also said all the sorrows in his heart to Ethan. He said that he had to protect Ethan's wife Julia but failed. Now Ethan told him about the true truth. In fact, Julia has not died. That action was to protect Julia, so they faked her death. He took the initiative to go to prison for the purpose of investigating the situation. But while observing, he knew that the information provider was the weapons merchant. Ethan passed him secretly to meet weapons merchants to receive information related to satellites. Brandt finished listening and felt relieved to join Ethan's team. Ethan looked at Julia in the distance. Because of her safety, he was forced to leave because a more dangerous task was waiting for him. Mission Impossible Part 5. A plane containing biochemical weapons is about to take off. At the key moment, Ethan jumped to the side of the plane and climbed on the door. The aircraft increasingly gained altitude. Ethan is facing danger. Benji, with the help of Luther, opened the door remotely. Ethan was immediately sucked into the aircraft compartment and successfully robbed the weapons. Behind this batch of weapons is a secret organization named the Syndicate. This organization specializes in conducting terrorist attacks all over the world. Ethan went to a disc shop, which was a secret headquarters. Through a series of signals, he received a new mission that IMF assigned to him from a female employee. Unexpectedly, this task was one the Syndicate was involved in. They threatened Ethan not to investigate the Syndicate anymore, otherwise they will be exposed because the Syndicate has grasped Ethan's personal information. Ethan finished listening immediately. Then the mission is automatically destroyed. But unlike the previous times, this time it released toxic gases. Ethan was locked in the room. A man wearing a mask killed the female employees right in front of Ethan. Ethan was also poisoned by poisonous gas. When he woke up, he discovered that he was tied to a dark room. There was a woman named Ilsa who was calculating injecting drugs for Ethan to incite him. Suddenly, there was a self-proclaimed doctor who finished the picture and prepared to use a surgical method to deal with Ethan, because he is the top assassin of the boss. He was afraid that once Ethan was convinced, he could not keep his position anymore. Ilsa sneaked out a key for Ethan. He saw it and seemed to understand something. Taking advantage of the doctor not noticing, he knocked him out. Ilsa immediately kept the key for Ethan, then quickly solved other guards. Ethan saw that Ilsa did it and quickly jumped out of the column. The two coordinated with each other to handle all other assassins and release Ethan. But Ilsa did not leave because she still had another mission. Seeing the doctor was about to chase, Ethan also could not ask much and left the scene. The director of the CIA was dissatisfied with the action style of the IMF team because they often act on their own arbitrarily, and news of their actions is also very vague. He complained to the committee requesting to disband this organization. Brandt participated in the hearing trying to protect the IMF but failed. Helplessly, he could only agree to join the CIA. Ethan escaped and secretly contacted Brandt. He knew that the IMF was disbanded and he became a wanted criminal. But to be able to know the syndicate, the man with the other glasses, Ethan can only escape from the search of the CIA. Through the underground help of Benji, Ethan knows that the man wearing glasses is the key to investigating the syndicate. But he was about to come to Vienna to see an opera session. Ethan secretly gave Benji a ticket to create a meeting. Then he dragged Benji to Vienna so that he can help him find the man wearing glasses. This opera session was not the same as normal, because the Chancellor of Austria also came to the scene. Benji sneaked to the engine room easily without being seen by the cameras. Then he started searching for the man with the glasses. At this time, Ilsa wore a yellow party dress to the theater. Her goal is to murder the Chancellor. Through the Benji camera, there was a suspicious person. Ethan followed that person, climbing on the roof of the theater. He started the gun to assassinate the Chancellor. Ethan immediately advanced. The two sides fought. Through the man's glasses, the name of the man was revealed to Ethan. Actually, the glasses did not come to the scene. On this side, Ilsa also assembled a gun and found a mark in the music score, reaching out his long legs to aim at the Chancellor. While fighting, Ethan was slightly lost. The assassin took out a dagger. Ethan saw that, then took advantage of a rope to stab the assassin. On the other side, there is a fake assassin with a security guard entering the lighting room. He took out a gun to target the Chancellor. While fighting, Ethan saw this scene and then quickly defeated the assassin. Then he picked up the gun to target the fake guard. At this moment, Ethan discovered that Ilsa was also targeting the Chancellor. But he only has one bullet. Who should he shoot? Seeing the music coming to the climax, Ilsa was preparing to take action. In an emergency situation, Ethan thought of a way. He directly shot the Chancellor. The scene immediately became chaotic. Bodyguards escorted the Chancellor to the outside. Because Ethan intervened, Ilsa could not hit the Chancellor. On this side, the fake security guard discovered that Ilsa was planning to open fire. Benji discovered his intention and directly pushed the door in. Two people fought. Ilsa opened fire.
Before the fake guard, Benji saw that Ilsa wanted to open fire at him. Seeing that he was about to be revealed, Ilsa hurriedly fled. But now inside the theater is full of protection. Ethan promptly appeared to take her to the roof of the house, and then they slipped down together. The Chancellor sat on the protected car and left the theater. But unexpectedly, on the car, the Chancellor was bombed and was finally murdered. During the chaos, Benji drove to pick up Ethan. After the two boarded, Ethan suspected Ilsa's identity, so starting to search on her body, taking a lipstick from her. It turned out that Ilsa was an MI6 agent sent to spy on the man named wearing glasses to investigate information. But the last time she arbitrarily released Ethan caused the glasses to start suspecting her. To prove her loyalty, this time she was specially sent to kill the Chancellor. But the other two assassins are there because the glasses want insurance. Once Ilsa cannot succeed, those two will act on their own. One assassin killed the Chancellor instead of Ilsa. To ensure the failure, the glasses bombed the car beforehand. So whether Ilsa succeeds or not, the Chancellor will still die. At this time, a crowd of people chased after them. Those people are the subordinates of the glasses. To not reveal the status of Ilsa, she pretended to jump from the car to escape. During the investigation of documents, Ethan discovered that the two assassins just now at the theater were agents from different countries that were recorded as killed or missing. The syndicate hires many former government agents to work for themselves. It's like a special mercenary organization aimed at governments to create terrorist events. At this time, he remembered that he could get Ilsa's lipstick. Based on Benji's career intuition, it is clearly a USB. So through the information on the USB, they found the position of Ilsa. In fact, it was all due to Ilsa arranging it in the past intentionally for Ethan to find. The director of the CIA knew about the attack in Vienna, saying that Ethan and Benji did not escape blame. He decided to send a task force to spread out and find Ethan. In an emergency, they can directly shoot. Brandt saw that Ethan and Benji were in danger and came to Luther together to support the two of them. Luther is based on the two portraits that Ethan left to guess that Ethan was living with this girl. So through face recognition, he last discovered her face was at the Casablanca airport. So he and Brandt started to find Ethan and Benji. Ethan, from Ilsa's words, knew the name of the man with glasses was always searching. It is the founder of the syndicate, Solomon Lane. Previously, he was an agent. Later, the superior command voluntarily established the syndicate. Ilsa is sent to spy. With this list, it can prove the crimes of the syndicate and cause it to dissolve. But the computer keeping the list was placed at an underground power plant. To go to the server room, you need to go through 3 doors. The first door is fingerprint confirmation. The second door is a 3-digit code. The third door is a gait analysis system. This system can be said to be hell. It records the agent's gait and motion on the face. Benji thought that he could use a mask to act, but through an analysis they must give up. Unable to enter by the main door or the ventilation, the electric cable also has no way to enter. The only way is to put Benji's identity information in the safety system first. Just like that, he can clearly enter the main step-in, but the data is safely placed in a cooling water sphere. So the next task is to dive into the water tanks to change the data. That way, Benji can safely enter the engine room to get the list. The exit in the water cooling machine can only open from the inside, so the only entrance is the input of the cooling machine. But in the water source, once metal is detected, it will automatically close. So Ethan could not carry an oxygen tank and could only rely on the ability to hold his breath and go inside. Ethan thinks that 3 minutes is enough for him. In front of the team, it was impossible to refuse, so he was helpless. Then they start acting. Ethan and Ilsa went to the water source of the cooling machine. After preparing to complete, Ethan jumped down. To ensure safety, Ilsa entered the system of the chiller to close the sewer. This side, Benji also started to take action. Ethan reaches the position of the data drive to prepare to change the data card, but the device is pushed to the side. The engineer in the control room detects the water source is being closed and restarts the system. Water flows again. Ilsa also has no way to control it. Ethan found that the data card, unexpectedly, the refrigerator started again. The water stream is constantly causing Ethan to move. After a while, he finally got the data card. But at this time, oxygen is about to be exhausted. Benji has passed the first 2 gates to the gate identification system. At the endangered moment, he successfully replaced the data card. Benji conveniently entered the server room to get the list. But Ethan had stopped breathing, so he could not open the door to escape and fell unconscious into the water. At this time, Ilsa promptly appeared to save him. After that, she used an electric shock to awaken Ethan. Benji found them. Seeing that Ilsa cared about Ethan like that, he also let go of prejudice against her. After that, they got the USB. Ilsa was next to the changing clothes and heard something. She did not say anything.
Used an electric device to cause Benji to faint and took the USB. This reminds me of a quote, "Never believe in women. The more beautiful the woman is, the better the deceit. Remember that carefully." After Ilsa went out, she discovered Solomon sent a convoy to pick her up. Ilsa changed her clothes, then quickly started the motorbike, weaved through the other cars, and then escaped from the scene. Ethan is still in a coma. The car to bring Benji's car quickly gave chase. Going to one end of the road, meanwhile Brandt and Luther are looking for them. The subordinates of Solomon opened fire. Brandt brought Luther close to the tail. Ethan saw someone shooting at Ilsa and without saying a word, directly shot at him. Unexpectedly, the rear convoy began to shoot at Ethan. Ethan dodged into an alley. Seeing the convoy chasing, Ethan began to show his racing skills. He immediately kicked and spun the car around 180 degrees, blocking the convoy. Then he escaped the pursuit. But the opponent's firepower is very strong. Ethan drove out, grabbing. At this time, a car went towards them. In the moment of Brandt and Luther's endangered time, they promptly went to save the two of them. Ethan then drove a motorbike again. Motorcycles are the strength of Ethan. One way he defeated all the drivers chasing him. Then he chased Ilsa. Unexpectedly, a piece of Ilsa did not play the reward ceremony but went out in the middle of the road. Ethan could not brake. The car immediately fell to the ground and he watched Ilsa escape. After chasing failure, Benji sneaked out a backed-up USB. He had a backup, which means that he chased after the whole session. Luther started to show his natural hacker skills, but still could not open this USB. This is a very encrypted document that has been encrypted 3 times. It needs retinal fingerprints and the voice of the British Prime Minister. So why did Solomon want something unable to be opened? Ethan suddenly thought of it. It turned out that Solomon deliberately led them to investigate the route he set out. The goal is for Ilsa to take advantage of them to steal data. His next step was to arrest the British Prime Minister to unlock the USB. It seems that this is not information about the syndicate member, but something else. After Ilsa successfully escaped, her superior was Atli to give the electronic list to him. But Atli said that this list is confirmed as fake. It is because Solomon intentionally created it to test Ilsa. To confirm whether this list is true or not, Ilsa needs to return to the Solomon side as a spy investigating the truth. At this time, Ilsa was a bit unhappy because she completed the task he assigned. Based on the previous promises, he should let her leave MI6. But Atli threatened her again. If she did not listen, he would tell her information to the American CIA. At that time, Ilsa will become a wanted criminal. Ilsa helplessly could only hold the USB towards Solomon. Solomon received the USB, then gave it to subordinates to check. The result inside the USB does not have the data he wants. At this time, Solomon started to say that Ilsa played him. But Ilsa also said that Ethan dropped the USB. Through Luther, they found Ilsa's location. So a crowd of people caught her in a touch.
At this time, Ilsa knows the USB is not right. It can be affirmed that someone has moved his arms and legs. Ilsa immediately thought of Atli. It seems that he deliberately harmed her. At this time, Ilsa was a bit depressed with the life of an agent. She wanted to run away with Ethan to find herself. At this time, Ethan remembers that quote, "Never believe in women. The more beautiful the woman is, the better the deceit. Remember that carefully." He started hesitating, not knowing whether to believe her. Suddenly, they were interrupted. Benji was caught by the orthopedic doctor. Ethan told Luther to look after Ilsa, and he went with Brandt to rescue Benji. Ilsa acted quickly and escaped quickly. The name of the orthopedic doctor also disappears. Brandt said that Ilsa deliberately lured them. He thought of his quote again. At this time, Ethan received a phone call from Solomon, telling him to give the USB to be unlocked in exchange for Benji. Helpless, they only had to listen. But Ethan had a different plan. Brandt pretended to betray Ethan, informing that Ethan wanted to kidnap the British Prime Minister to the director of the CIA. The director is aware of the seriousness of the problem. After coming to London, he went to the director of MI6, Atli, to say Ethan's actions. Atli heard it and talked privately with the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister knew there was an agent named Ethan who wants to kidnap him. The goal is to investigate the syndicate organization. He is a bit suspicious. The syndicate was once a plan Atli proposed. The operating cost for this organization is hidden in a secret red box. Only he could open it. But because this organization was so black, it was not approved. He suspected Atli went on his own action. The director of the CIA immediately ignored it. It turned out that the syndicate that Ethan once mentioned did exist. At this time, Atli pointed a gun towards the Prime Minister to feint him. Then, peeling off the mask, it was disguised by Ethan. He had just given the Prime Minister a special anesthetic. The Prime Minister obediently supports Brandt unlocking the USB. It turned out that inside was not a list of members of the syndicate. It is a treasury worth £2.4 billion. At this time, Atli went to the room. Ethan took the opportunity to shoot him with an anesthetic. Then, from his words, he confirmed that the syndicate organization was indeed established by Atli. Then he assigned Solomon to manage it, but Solomon betrayed him to do a lot of bad things. Atli was hiding his own past, so Ilsa had to work for him, handling invoices and funds of the organization. So he intentionally deleted data in the USB to harm Ilsa. The director, after hearing the truth, immediately understood. Ethan then gave an antidote and anesthetic gun to the director so he could disguise himself as the city official Atli wanted to assassinate the Prime Minister. The director overcame thousands of difficulties to come here to defeat Atli and rescue the Prime Minister. All merits were received by the director. The director saw his two agents understood like that and was very happy, implicitly agreeing with their actions. After obtaining the capital account, Ethan immediately destroyed the USB. Then he went to the appointment to meet Benji and Ilsa. But on Benji, there was a timer that triggered with stress. Unable to move, Ethan understood that once the entire account itself was delivered, then all of them would have to die. To lure Solomon into his trap, he deliberately brought a small amount first for Solomon to taste a bit of sweetness first. Ethan had actually already opened the USB. Ethan then said to Solomon that the USB was cancelled. All account information is in his brain. So if the bomb exploded, he would never get the remaining huge amount. Seeing the explosion time nearby, Solomon still could not win against Ethan. He pressed the bomb button a second before exploding and followed the requirements of Ethan, releasing Benji. The doctor led people to arrest Ethan. Ethan and Ilsa immediately fled. After a while of fighting, the two ran away. Ilsa saw the doctor who chased it and then pulled out a dagger to attack. The doctor was good at using a knife. Ilsa was a bit inferior. After applying the flexibility of her body to stab him a few times, then quickly rotating, she jumped on him and then a knife ended the opponent. On this side, Ethan fought back and forth into the enemy, intentionally luring Solomon to a basement for parking. Suddenly, the members of the lane team appeared and Solomon was knocked out under the gas. Then they started toxic gas, like what he did with Ethan at the beginning. With the task completed, Ilsa also regained freedom. Then she said goodbye to Ethan and went back to herself. On this side, the director of the intelligence department tasted the sweet fruit and applied for the committee to restore the IMF. Mission Impossible 6. Ethan accepts a new mission. Although he had previously caught Solomon, the leader of the syndicate, many members of this organization are still running away. They claim to be apostles, causing terrorists around the world. Recently, they received a new directive to try a larger terrorist act. The person responsible for contacting the apostles is a man named Lane. Lane once wrote the Declaration of the End of the World, trying to destroy the existing world order to make the world chaotic because he believed chaos was order. The apostles contacted a criminal gang in Eastern Europe to buy 3 plutonium cores from this gang. Plutonium is an important material for making nuclear weapons. Once they succeed, the world will be in danger. So Ethan's mission is to use all tricks to prevent them from getting the plutonium. After receiving the mission, Ethan leads Benji and Luther to act. They calculated through the black market transaction, buying all plutonium cores from the Eastern European criminal gangs before the apostles started to act. When the incident was almost successful, Luther was arrested again. They intimidated Ethan to deliver the plutonium. In the emergency situation, Ethan used a dangerous trick to hit Luther. Because Luther has a bulletproof shirt, there is no danger. But when everyone reacted, the plutonium was taken away. To find the plutonium and the whereabouts of Greg, the name of the Norwegian expert is an important key. A group of people deliberately caused a traffic accident, taking the expert to a fake hospital. Ethan and others pretended that the apostles had successfully built 3 nuclear attacks, thus scaring the name of the Norway. This expert and Greg cooperated to cause terrorist attacks. Seeing his wish was successful, he thought that Greg had worked it out. So he asked for just the declaration of his anti-religion to be read publicly on the TV, and he would provide the phone password he used to contact Greg to let them know. Ethan immediately followed, seeing his declaration publicly broadcast. The Norwegian expert name is extremely excited, then tells the password to Luther. After a series of operations, Luther also found Greg's location. It was at this moment that the team began to take action. The MC on the TV also stripped off the mask. It turned out that Benji was disguised as him. This time he finally successfully wore a mask. The Norwegian expert saw the scene in front of him. It seems that he didn't watch movies before. From the investigation signal, they discovered Greg is currently in Paris, trading with an international weapons dealer nicknamed the White Widow. The trading item is most likely the lost plutonium. Last time, after restoring the IMF, the director was sent to the IMF as the leader. In the intelligence, there was a new female director. The female director who has just accepted the position also said that the intensity of the IMF is unknown, so she specially applied for the superior, Walker, her subordinate. And Ethan went to Paris to do duty. The director was helpless and only agreed. After boarding, Ethan began to arrange the plan. They will parachute to the hall from above Paris. After finding Greg, take the opportunity to feint him, then scan the face data to make a mask. Ethan will pretend to be Greg
to meet the White Widow and find the plutonium's whereabouts. But it is clear that Walker does not like Ethan's way of working. When going to the sky above Paris, Ethan saw lightning in the clouds and calculated to change the plan. Walker does not care and parachutes first. Ethan was helpless and just jumped down. Unexpectedly, in the process of falling, Walker was hit by the lightning again. The oxygen tank also left. Ethan saw that and then rushed over. Seeing Walker unconscious, he immediately gave his oxygen to him. Fortunately, there is no danger. Walker did not know what happened at this time, saying that Ethan dropped the oxygen vase. Encountering such a teammate, Ethan also holds back. The two followed the positioning signal of the bracelet to the toilet to find Greg. Ethan holds an anesthetic needle to attack. Greg quickly dodged and dropped the needle. Walker immediately took action, using the computer in his hand to feint the opponent. Then they go to a bathroom to prepare scanning face information. But because Walker took action so forcefully, the computer was a bit tight, operating slowly. It was at this time Greg awakened and fought the two. Greg's body was quick, hitting Ethan and Walker, who cannot resist. In an emergency moment, Greg was shot in the head. Ethan looked and saw the shooter was Ilsa. He immediately remembered the absolute sentence, "Do not believe women." Ethan saw Greg's face was ruined and unable to copy his face. Helplessly, he had to take risks again. He guessed that the White Widow has not met Greg, so he took his ring and then went to meet the White Widow. Ilsa also immediately followed, because she learned that there were people who wanted to assassinate Greg. After listening to Ethan, he felt that he could take advantage of this point. After meeting the White Widow, he immediately said someone wanted to assassinate her. So, for her safety, it's best to leave with her. The White Widow looked around. As expected, there were some suspicious people. Although they do not know if these people finally come here to murder, but to be safe, she still left with Ethan and coordinated with him to handle those guys beautifully. Ilsa also supports with her skills. After getting home safely, the White Widow immediately said the details of the transaction to Ethan. The plutonium core sellers do not need money, but want to use Solomon to exchange. It just so happens Solomon is now in Paris to receive interrogation. What Ethan needs to do is to intercept the convoy transporting Solomon with the White Widow, then use him in exchange for plutonium to express his sincerity. The White Widow took 1 plutonium first as a deposit. Based on the White Widow, they started planning. First, attack the convoy of the car transporting Solomon. After that, attack and kill all the police to save Solomon. After Ethan finished listening, it felt so dark. But because he couldn't be revealed, he pretended to agree with this plan. In fact, he has different arrangements. At this time, Walker suspected Ethan was a traitor and was secretly telling this information to the female director. At the same time, he brought her a phone as evidence, saying that this phone found on the name of Greg was good. If the director finished listening, she was shocked. Actually, everyone must guess that the new Walker is the traitor. Greg's phone was soon broken during fighting, but the one he gave was completely intact. The prison robbery begins. Ethan did not obey the police attack plan from 2 heads as set up. He was directly driving an armored vehicle carrying Solomon into the river. Then he attacked the assassin in the car to fall out. On this side, Benji dives down in the water, secretly rescuing Solomon. Luther found the monitoring device around his neck and immediately stole the signal source. Thus, it will not be able to position Solomon again. Ethan drove away, going to an alley.
Then, driving a motorbike, continued to flee. At the same time, telling Walker to meet at the parking lot earlier, and he led the police himself. Ethan drives a car like flying on the streets of Paris. Police cars chased after. Ethan, while driving carelessly, stabbed into a car and fell down. During the scramble, he stood up and jumped into a water tank. Below, linked to the river, Benji and Luther have been waiting here for a long time. They successfully met Ethan, then went to the parking lot. Everyone is extremely busy putting Solomon into the car. But unexpectedly, at the moment the door opened, a police officer discovered them. Ethan does not want to harm innocent people and goes up to prepare to talk to her. No doubt the police officer suddenly was shot by his subordinates. Ethan did not say much, immediately opened fire on them, then led Solomon away. At this time, Ilsa launched a motorbike. Her goal is to kill Solomon. Ethan saw the danger, then the Benji people got out of the car, and he drove away from pursuit. Ilsa immediately chased. Ethan did not give up. He uses all kinds of racing skills. But unexpectedly, Ilsa's driving is even more skillful. She easily cuts into another road, blocking right ahead. She draws a gun aimed at Solomon. At this time, Ethan discovered Ilsa. After a moment of hesitation, he crashed straight into her, then successfully escaped. The White Widows Jr. see this scene. After Ethan's group arrived safely, Luther is in charge of taking the positioning machine. Then he puts it on a drone to distract the police. Then he goes looking for the White Widow, asking her for a specific delivery location. But now the White Widow has known the story of Ilsa from his juniors. She took the opportunity to raise prices, not only demanding to have Solomon, but also to hand
Ilsa she agreed to exchange for plutonium. Ethan pretended to agree. The White Widow then suddenly rushed to kiss him. Obviously, she liked Ethan. She did not want to see Ilsa destroying her feelings. Ilsa also followed them and found Ethan. She told him why she was pursuing Solomon, because Solomon knows so many things. But he used to be an agent in England before. MI6 is afraid he will reveal some things that are not beneficial to the country. That's why Ilsa went after him. Previously, Ilsa was the spy at Solomon's side. So MI6 let Ilsa take action to check her loyalty. Otherwise, she would not be free. It is true that once a spy will never be free again. But to get plutonium, Ethan could not agree to let Ilsa kill Solomon. The stance of the two people opposes each other. The White Widow set the appointment time for delivery in London. After the Ethan group arrived, the director was found first. Ethan reported all the source of everything to him. They planned to play the mask game again. Let Benji pretend to be Solomon for the White Widow. But the director has received a document from the new director of the office, intended to order Ethan to stop action and bring him and Solomon back to America. Ethan saw that it was almost time to make an appointment with the White Widow. He was determined to feint the director. Then he told Benji to wear a mask and follow Ethan and Luther to see the White Widow. Walker stayed in to hold the real Solomon. After Ethan left, Walker went to find Solomon and was about to release him. But Solomon refused to go, and he read the oath of the end of the world written by Lane. Walker did not hide it anymore, but told his true identity. It turned out that the writer of this oath was him. He is Lane. He cooperated with Solomon to get plutonium from the hands of the White Widow. Solomon's condition is that Walker must help him harm Ethan. Previously, Walker put fake documents and a phone to the female director to harm Ethan. Actually, the White Widow is cooperating with the CIA. She often helps the CIA by seducing others in exchange for legal exemptions on the purchase and sale of guns. Once Ethan took the name Lane trading with her, the CIA will catch Ethan at the match, thus authenticating the crime of Ethan. Walker said for a while, discovering something wrong. He rushed out to tear the mask. It turned out to be Benji. Ethan, they completely did not go to see the White Widow. Obviously, Walker has fallen into their plan. He was tricked by his own trick. At this time, Walker just wants to escape. He then claimed that he was also acting. The goal is to help the country get plutonium. He absolutely did not know why the female director had fake material on Ethan. But unexpectedly, the director was calling a video with the female director. The female director saw all the things that had just happened. But she still did not trust the IMF and gave them all up. Unexpectedly, Walker had also prepared in advance. Among the female director's group, there are people of Walker. Then the two sides fought each other. At this time, Ilsa also appeared. The situation is extremely chaotic. Walker was about to shoot Ethan. The director saw it and then stopped him. Unexpectedly, Walker stabbed him. He then forced Luther to be the hostage to flee. Luther quickly injected a tracking chip into Walker, then ran. Ethan chases Walker as directed by Benji. Next is a special chase of Ethan. After a while searching, he finally found Walker. Walker discovered him and was going to shoot. But now he suddenly understood why Solomon did not straight kill Ethan, thinking of all kinds of ways to harm and torture him. Because this feeling is really happy. So he also tried to follow. He took a picture of Julia, Ethan's ex-wife, out. He intimidated Ethan to confess and admit he was shaking. Then sit in prison to watch the bomb explode. If not, Walker will kill Julia at any time. After saying that, he took Solomon to a helicopter escaping.
Initially, when Luther removed the positioning machine from Solomon, Luther had injected another positioning chip into him. Thanks to that, they discovered the position of Solomon. The group immediately set out to the territory of Kashmir. The lands have a seasonal virus here. This time, they intended to use bombs to pollute the water source of this place, creating a great crisis for the world. Benji constantly searched and discovered the only way to remove the bomb. After starting the countdown, you must pull out the safety key, then cut off the explosives of 2 bombs. After listening, Ilsa couldn't believe it. But Ethan is familiar with this. Anyway, it is not the first time playing this game. Solomon's signal disappeared at a medical farm. It seems that he intentionally led Ethan to go there. After getting off, the group of people spread out to search for radiation signals. Right now, Ethan discovered that Julia was also here. She found a new husband. They went to Kashmir to participate in the International Medical Relief Program. Ethan finally understood why Solomon chose a medical camp as a place of action. One is to take advantage of the radiation from medical equipment here to interfere with Ethan's search. The second is to let Ethan see his lover to torture him. After reviewing the old story, they started to act. First, Luther discovered a bomb. Then he set to work to study the detonator. After obtaining the safety key, Walker pressed the countdown button. So they hurriedly located the other helicopter. Benji and Ilsa are in charge of the remaining bomb. Julia knows Ethan's mission and then helps Luther to remove the bomb. After a long time, Ethan finally climbed up the plane compartment. After finishing the 2 soldiers, he successfully controlled the helicopter. Then he flew over Walker's head and threw ropes down to stop him. Unexpectedly, the pilot reacted quickly, avoiding the trap. Walker saw and started shooting. Ethan immediately escaped. The plane almost lost control. But Walker still clung on and did not let go. After going to a cloud layer, Ethan took this opportunity to fly down below the clouds, then rushed up again. He was about to crash into Walker's plane. Walker again escaped. On the other hand, Elsa discovered Solomon and chased him to find the other bomb. Right now, Solomon appeared to Elsa. Then he threatened Elsa to lure her teammates and captured Benji. While Elsa was endangered, she smashed backwards into the table, laughing with Solomon. Thanks to the help of Benji, Elsa could not be captured by Solomon. Seeing that Benji was about to suffocate, Elsa tried to chain Solomon to let him faint, then save Benji. Because Walker is still not stopping, Ethan's helicopter was hit. He saw the engine is about to lose control. Ethan decided to chase, stabbing directly into Walker. After rolling a few rounds on the snow, the helicopter was trapped between the mountains. The crash made Walker's face burn. Ethan went for the detonator. Unexpectedly, the helicopter slid down. The 2 of them fell onto a flat surface on the mountainside. And the helicopter is stuck in the rock, hanging on the cliff. Ethan saw the detonator, intending to go up. Then Walker energetically stopped him. The 2 of them started fighting violently. Ethan was knocked down. The 2 almost fell off the cliff. Fortunately, they caught a cord of the helicopter. When Ethan is about to get the detonator, the helicopter suddenly slipped down. But fortunately, it was not dangerous. The rope hooked into the rock again. Seeing that the rock could not stand this weight anymore, Ethan clung to the cliff, starting to climb with bare hands. Walker also immediately followed. Ethan did not say anything, but he pulled the plane down. Luther and Benji have found the detonator of the bomb, but it is necessary to wait for the safety key to cut the wire. But because the distance is too far, the signal was broken. They cannot confirm that Ethan has been successful. In the urgent time, Luther and Benji had to take an extreme chance. They cut the detonator at the last countdown. Against expectations, Ethan also successfully removed the key. The bomb was also disarmed smoothly. After completing the mission, the female director started looking at the IMF with another eye. She agreed with Ethan's offer. The White Widow intermediaries delivered Solomon to MI6 in return for Elsa. Julia also generously delivered Ethan to Elsa. In the end, the 2 of them were found together. Never believe women. The more beautiful the women are, the better they are at deceiving others. Remember it carefully. The first film of this series released in 1996. This film has become a classic work of Tom Cruise. The makeup mask has also become a classic detail in this series. Moreover, this episode is even more advanced than the others. In addition, it seems that in every movie, there are special suspense moments. It can be said to be a classic of the silver screen. For example, the spy scene gives people in the first part. The tension and the combination make viewers nervous. The helicopter battle chased each other in the tunnel makes people more excited. During the 6 films, Tom Cruise gradually changed from a young man into a middle-aged uncle. But he was still very dedicated. As expected of the brave person who is not afraid of quality in filmmaking. I don't know what he will climb by hand next to complete the next impossible task. The almost complete recap version of Mission Impossible franchise has come to an end. In the next time, we will recap the 2 parts of the Dead Reckoning, so stay tuned. If you like this recap, you can come to my channel for other good videos. What is your most favorite part of all? Please leave a comment below. Now goodbye and see you guys next time. Bye and see you guys next time.